EU approves $334 million for Dutch aviation fuel plants. Brussels just cleared the first sustainable aviation fuel aid package under its new Clean Industrial Deal framework. The money goes to fuel pathways that barely exist at commercial scale anywhere yet, and that EU airlines will soon be legally required to buy. The European Commission has approved 2 Dutch state aid schemes worth a combined $334 million, $290 million, to support sustainable aviation fuel projects at different stages of development. One scheme provides investment aid for SAF production facilities, while the other covers preparatory work, including front-end engineering design studies. Together, the programs are meant to support projects capable of producing roughly 285 kilotons of SAF annually, equivalent to about 350 million liters of conventional jet fuel, or enough to cover an estimated 3,500 intercontinental flights a year. The funding targets 2 pathways still less commercially mature than conventional hydroprocessed esters and fatty acids, or HEFA, production. Non-HEFA advanced biofuels and synthetic aviation fuel, known as eSAF. Funding covers both engineering studies and plant construction. The Dutch programs address 2 separate barriers facing emerging SAF projects. Large production plants require substantial capital, but many projects can't get far enough along to become investable because developers can't finance the detailed engineering, permitting, and technical studies that come first. Backing both preparatory work and later investment is meant to help projects move from early planning toward construction. Aid will be paid as direct grants tied to project milestones, not upfront lump sums. Funding rounds are expected to run between 2027 and 2031, with as many as 5 rounds depending on available resources, and awards will go out first come, first served under criteria the Commission described as objective, transparent, and non-discriminatory. Support targets, pathways beyond conventional biofuel. The Netherlands is directing the funding toward non-HEFA, advanced biosaf, and eSAF, rather than the HEFA pathway that supplies most commercially available SAF today. A pattern EEL has tracked as the industry approaches what one recent market outlook called a HEFA tipping point. HEFA fuels are generally made from waste oils and fats, and their growth is constrained by how much of that feedstock is actually available and at what cost. Advanced biosaf can draw on other eligible waste streams, while eSAF is produced using renewable hydrogen and captured carbon. Both remain expensive and commercially limited, and Dutch officials said backing both technologies could broaden commercial development rather than betting the market on a single pathway, a strategy debate playing out differently across North American SAF policy, where investment gaps remain wider. Aid supports Refuel EU Aviation's rising blending targets. The schemes are designed to support the Refuel EU Aviation regulation, which requires fuel suppliers to raise the share of SAF supplied at European airports over time, starting at 2% in 2025 and climbing to 6% by 2030 and 70% by 2050. The rules also carry a separate smaller requirement specifically for synthetic fuels, creating demand for eSAF that isn't yet available at meaningful commercial scale. The same supply gap driving recent SAF production alliances elsewhere in the industry. The approved Dutch funding is intended to help close part of that gap before the mandates get tougher, and the Commission has linked the schemes to its broader Clean Industrial Deal push to expand clean technology manufacturing across the EU. The Commission concluded the projects would be unlikely to proceed at the same scale or pace without government help, finding the schemes necessary, proportionate to eligible costs, and structured with safeguards against market distortion. For SAF developers, the approval opens a new source of capital for projects that may be technically viable but hard to finance, given high production costs and thin commercial operating history. It won't resolve those challenges on its own, but it could help more projects reach the milestones needed to compete for private capital and long-term airline contracts. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.